Coming up in this Brightline construction update. This Brightline construction update wraps up my coverage of the ATC-20 cutover with a full flyover of the cutover limits after everything was complete, including some areas I've never filmed before. ATC-20 activated about 8 miles of the new second main line and new signals between CP Cocoa and CP Bonaventure and Rockledge. When combined with the track cut over during ATC-19 earlier this year, the Frontenac Improvement Project, which was cut over at the same time, and the FEC's existing double track in Titusville, the Florida East Coast Railway now has roughly 32 miles of continuous double track in service in central and northern Brevard County. Starting here at CP Cocoa near Michigan Avenue, I'll head south to CP Bonaventure before turning around to come back. CP Cocoa is where Brightline's new Orlando line joins into the existing Florida East Coast Railway corridor. It is made up of 3 crossovers and 2 additional turnouts where Brightline's tracks join. Now at Dixon Boulevard, and the curve just south of the crossing was broadened to allow higher speeds. The new main line is on the left here. Rounding the next curve, and the next crossing is West Highlands Drive. The building on the left is Inland Plywood, which is served from the newly formed Cocoa-Rockledge siding. The siding begins at this turnout. The Cocoa-Rockledge siding was created by converting a portion of the old mainline into the siding and constructing 2 new mainline tracks for the length of it instead of the single additional track like the rest of the project. This is the Peachtree Street crossing, followed by the State Road 520 crossing. Just past 520 is a new cantilever intermediate signal. Passing Rosa L. Jones Boulevard and the Florida East Coast Railway's former Cocoa-Rockledge station is on the left. It last saw passenger service in July of 1968 and is now used by the railroad for other purposes. Past the station is Cocoa Yard. It has been used for a variety of purposes over the years and is currently used for transloading operations, including unloading aggregate from gondolas and cement from covered hoppers. The main reason behind the creation of this new Cocoa-Rockledge siding is to allow trains to service the yard without blocking the main line. Continuing south, and the Barton curve is next. This curve was also broadened to allow higher speeds. A ballast regulator was at work with some finishing touches on the old mainline track that is now the siding. Now at Barton Boulevard, and just south of the crossing, is where the Cocoa-Rockledge siding rejoins the main line. At this point, the new main line is on the right, and the existing main line is on the left. This is the Eyster Boulevard crossing. Another curve is also around the corner, which required the addition of 2 retaining walls as part of the curve broadening. This is the private Rinker Way crossing, which leads to one of the project staging yards at a former industry. The industry lead track was extended as well on the right. It joins the Western Main Line here. This is the Gusset Boulevard crossing. Next up is the Barnes Boulevard crossing. Another former industry track is on the left here. It is mostly used to store maintenance equipment on now. And finally, here is CP Bonaventure. The next 8 miles of track was cut over back in July, and you can get a full overview of it in the video linked above. And now, we'll head back north to CP Cocoa. The new main line is on the left here. On the right here is a notable local landmark, Harvey's Groves. It was a citrus packing facility for almost 100 years, before it closed about 5 years ago. There are plans for the property to be redeveloped in the near future. A surfacing crew was working on the eastern main line here, following a spot tie crew replacing some old ties on this track, which was the existing main line. Just about all of the track shown in this video will be capable of handling 110 mph speeds once all the work is complete. The cocoa-rockledge siding is not designed for trains to pass on, with it being unsignalized with manual turnouts on either end. The signals here are just intermediates. You can see how the tracks were shifted to the right here, with the old mainline alignment running on the left side of the right-of-way through here. At one time, Cocoa Yard hosted a small intermodal operation. It quickly outgrew the yard and was relocated to another facility in Titusville. This white building on the left had a siding that had been unused for a long time, and its access was removed as part of the construction work. The tan building with a white roof coming up on the left is where virtual Railfan's Cocoa live streaming camera is located. You can see the track for inland plywood breaking off on the right here. While both main lines are now in service, there are still finishing touches to complete, including replacing some ties in the existing main line and finishing some ballast work. Only once all the remaining work is complete will the 110 mph testing begin in this area. CP Cocoa is made up of two crossovers, like most other crossover locations on the project, but it is followed by a turnout accessing one of Brightline's Orlando tracks, then another single crossover, and finally the second Orlando track. All of these are made up of number 24 turnouts, and are laid out in a way to increase the operational flexibility through this area. You can look at the next 3 miles to the north, which are part of the Frontenac Improvement Project, in the video linked to above. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also check out my social media pages.